Consett, County Durham, a steel town badly hit by the steel decline. A town now facing the prospect of 500 more redundancies. As the countdown for Consett begins, the people who live here worry about their future. 35,000 people live in Consett, and 3/4 of them rely, one way or another, on the steel plant for their livelihood. 1978 has been a bad year for Consett, with the loss of 1,000 jobs. And now the year 1979 looks grim as well. Further redundancies are about to be announced. The steel families, proud and independent people, are facing the crisis as best they can. But their patience is starting to run out. For generations, the steelworks has simply been called the company. Jim Roberts, age 62, married, a father of 3, and with a family pet called Sam, has been a company man for more than 40 years.
It's apathy. It's getting in. It's like cancer. Once it gets in, taking a lot of getting out. Apathy amongst the men. It's all this talk. All these rumours that came out with the truth. Told the men it was going to close or not, or what. But help everybody.
Jim's older sons have left home, but they work with their dad. And now only 15-year-old Danny is left. Danny's mother, Teresa Roberts, hopes that he too will get a job in steel.
We'll get things sorted up before Danny leaves school. He's going to have a job, isn't he?
He'll have to fend for himself the same as I did, so.
What are you going to do?
Huh?
You going to put him for an apprenticeship?
I'll try.
That's all you can do, just try, isn't it?
Hey, you may as
It's
well.
time they made their minds up though, isn't it? What's going to happen?
I don't think anybody knows, as a matter of fact.
You just have to be like Asquith, we'll have to wait and see.
But as long as I get me money, get the redundancy, be out. It's hard up on him, like.
It doesn't make any difference to us, but it's a shame for the young ones. We don't want them to have to go away anyway.
Ah.
We won't have to go, but we don't want the young ones to go either. I'll never move from here. Our family don't want to move away. They want to stay here. They're Blackfellas as well. There's a lot of people left the area, and they've all been glad to come back to it. It's home. Home is where the heart is, and our hearts are always here.
Steel has always been a family business in Consett, but since nationalisation, the head of the family is rarely seen at home. It never occurred to Jim Roberts to even think about another job these last 40 years. He's too old now, but his sons are having to consider the prospect of working elsewhere, or maybe not working at all. Loyalty to one company has always been a characteristic of Consett folk, as Union Chief Bill Sears knows well.
Good, they're hard-working, they're industrious, very loyal. You might see 1 or 2 people talking to me today, just come up and say hello to me, and I've been their official. I've told them some nasty things and argued with them. I've been difficult with them, but they accept it. They have tremendous loyalty. They have loyalty to the company as well, to the works where they're employed.
Unemployment in Consett is more than twice the national average. Take away steel, and there's virtually nothing left. The town would die. The plight of Consett has been taken to Westminster on many occasions by the town's MP, David Watkins.
At the present moment, I have never known such feelings of despondency in the area, principally about the uncertainty. No one quite knows what's going to happen. This, I'm afraid, has given rise to views that there's going to be a complete shutdown of the steelworks. Now, this I can refute, because I know that there's been a vast programme of reinvestment and modernisation here, which manifestly shows that the works is going to continue. It's certainly going to employ fewer people, but this is the measure of the, as I say, the alarm which the uncertainty has brought to people. That a lot of people think there is a danger of a real shutdown.
In an industry where facts are hard to come by, rumour, hearsay are taken seriously. Local union men don't know what's going on. Joe Forster is a delegate of the National Union of Blast Furnace Men.
The morale at Consett is very bad. The people at Consett
I think they have a right to know what's going to happen to Consett, but we never get a concrete answer on this. If I had to say of my position as a blast furnace delegate, the way things is going on, the only way to describe it from my point of view, that I would say that we stand on a scaffold with a rope round our necks, waiting for the British Steel Corporation to kick the trapdoor at their own convenience.
Jim and Brian Roberts, father and son, work as a team, like so many other relatives at Consett. They do a dangerous and dirty job, teaming white-hot metal into molds to make steel ingots ready for rolling or forging. Brian joined the steelworks from school as an apprentice. As a teamer, and still in his early 20s, the family reckon he's done pretty well for himself. Jim and Brian see themselves as pawns on a steel chessboard. The chess master is a blunt-talking Yorkshireman who's been at Consett for 4 years. His name, Derek Mate. His position, general manager.
The men on this plant know virtually everything I know, insofar that we keep no secrets from them. I would say that if anybody on this works doesn't know the answer to any question, it's his or her own fault. All they need to do is pick up the telephone and dial the question and answer service, and they can have recorded any question they wish to pose, and they will receive an answer to that question within 24 hours.
The management, for reasons of their own, I understand their reasons, but I don't agree with them. They feel that they've got to play the cards very close to their chests, as it were, in this matter, and it always has seemed to me repeatedly, and someone who's also made many inquiries into this matter, that they tend to announce a fait accompli, having come to a decision that they want to reduce certain sectors in the works, cut the labour force, and then they announce this. And my own view is that there ought to be much more consultation during the actual process of formulating decisions, not say to the unions, as is done, that we're going to have to make, as in the current situation, 350 people redundant. How do we negotiate about it? I think there ought to be negotiations with the unions in full confidence at a much early stage, so that they've got a much clearer understanding, in fact, of the very nature of the problems. And these are people who know and understand their industry and hold it very dear, in fact. There's a very great tradition of steel making and a very great pride of craftsmanship, and justifiably so.
But more and more men are losing their jobs. The workforce is being run down. Where will it end?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. And we can't get an answer to this question. There's no way they'll give us an answer to this question. And I can't understand that the British Steel Corporation have got no policy, that they're stumbling along from day to day. I believe that somebody, somewhere, knows what's going to happen to Consett and other places, but they won't divulge it.
Strong words reflecting the anxieties, the uncertainties of the Consett workforce. The most serious effects are being felt in the plate mill. It was once busy enough when shipbuilding and other industries demanded steel plate, but now so many other industries are in trouble, demand has fallen. The workforce of the plate mill has been cut by half, and single shift working has been introduced. Where will it all lead to? How much is the general manager, Derek Mate, prepared to divulge?
There will be more cutbacks. There have to be more cutbacks as we learn to become more efficient. In fact, we've got to cut back perhaps rather quicker than we have done in the past. We are still losing money as BSC, and we are still losing money as Consett Works.
How many more cutbacks are likely?
Well, it's not a case of any particular major cutback. It's a gradual grinding away of the surplus.
How much surplus needs to be grinded away?
Oh, a few hundreds yet. We hope we shall have got near to international standards of manning by 1980.
What are these?
Something in the order of 300 and odd tons per man year, in broad terms, although that's not a term I'm particularly happy to use.
It has been suggested that as many as 500, 600 more men will lose their jobs at Consett, apart from the redundancies already announced.
That's quite possible.
So hundreds of more job losses are in the pipeline. Union Chief Bill Sears thinks the community shouldn't just sit back and take it.
Well, I do agree that we are looking towards the future with a bit of apprehension. And I think the people in the town and the workers particularly really have to brace themselves for the future by organising themselves into planning committees. And so too must the community in order to protect the position of Consett Works.
As time runs out, it remains to be seen whether the people of Consett will adopt the rallying call and link arms to fight the cutbacks. The uncertainties of the future don't prevent the Steele families enjoying themselves. Monday night at the Black Hill Social Club, old-time dance nights, a night Jim and Teresa Roberts don't like to miss. The Roberts' eldest son, Jim, has been a company man since leaving school. He's a fitter at the steelworks. His wife, Susan, from Gateshead, is still learning the ways of Consett folk. She moved to Consett after getting married to Jim 6 months ago. They got a mortgage, bought a house, and are determined to stay. Setting up home, having to pay a mortgage, in a town where the future is a question mark, has to be a gamble. But Consett means more to Jim than just a job. But if the job went, then he and his wife would have to go too.
Well, Susan and I decided to buy a house in Consett because this is where my work was, really. We know that there's an axe hanging over the steelworks, but this is where we wanted to live. We could always sell our house. It's in a decent area. If it ever happened, I mean, I would get a certain amount of money anywhere, you know, if I was forced out of a job. So I'd have enough capital off the house, enough money, severance pay, redundancy pay, whatever you like to call it, and I could go into another part of the country or another part of the northeast and be pretty sound, like, you know.
In a situation where you have a lot of young people working at Consett with mortgages and worries, you know, this is tragic. It's bad enough worrying about a mortgage, but when you've got the threat of the fact you're going to have no job over your head, you know, I mean, you can understand people being in a terrible state.
The effects are on the young generation are very serious indeed. I know that there are people who, in the time-honoured tradition of this town, would like sons to follow fathers in as craftsmen and workers and apprentices and what have you in the industry, who feel that they haven't got the confidence to do that. And of course, it is a fact that in this town, about a quarter of all the registered unemployed are people under the age of 20 years.
One in every 5 young people in Consett is on the dole. With nothing much to do during the day, evenings are something to look forward to. Sean does have a job, but like everybody else, his future depends on the company. His fiancée is training to be a nurse.
We're planning to get married in September, and we're just not sure where we're going to live, sort of thing, with the steel plant the way it is. And if the company shuts down, we're kind of kaput.
My basic income doesn't really sort of cover 2 people living in a house. So I'll just have to hope to see if we can get a job down Middlesbrough, and with a bit of luck, if I pass the finals, I can get transferred out at Middlesbrough Hospital, somewhere around there.
Why Middlesbrough, Sean?
Just thought that Middlesbrough, we don't want to move out the northeast. It's a canny place, good place.
Ray is married, and he's about to become a father.
If I was single, I wouldn't be so bothered, really. Single people aren't, but when you're married and you've got a bairn, you know, that's what counts, the family. But, I was thinking of going down to Redgate, but you've got to be skilled, you see. You've got a skilled man that's all looking after. A skilled man. I certainly don't want to be on the dole. It's something I don't like to do.
Billy is training to become a plater in the blast furnace division. One furnace has already been shut down, leaving just 2.
Future, well, no one knows how it's going to go. When I'm out my time, I might have a job, might not. Just have to go somewhere else, I haven't.
But you're thinking of getting married, aren't you?
Well, thinking about it, yeah.
I mean, if things do look unsure in the future, I mean, would that mean that you wouldn't get married?
No, I'd just have to find a job somewhere else. Maybe, I mean, we've been talking, me and my mates, maybe someone want to go abroad, someone want to go on the oil rig, someone want to go here, there. We'll all end up on the dole, I reckon.
You're still going to get married, are you?
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
Even if it does mean the dole queue?
Yeah, maybe. Of course.
The problems of the young as they look towards the future. But the efficiency, the viability of the Consett plant affects not only the young, but all the Consett workforce. In fact, the whole town. What guarantees are there?
I can guarantee nothing.
Can you guarantee that Consett will continue as a steel plant?
No, I can't guarantee that.
Is there a chance that Consett totally will have to close down then?
There's always a chance. That chance applies to every works in BSC. Because no works is 100% safe or has its future guaranteed 100%. It's up to each works to make itself a totally viable unit.
Can Consett do this, do you think?
Consett can do this. There's a totally competitive situation in steel, and there is no escape from that.
So where are your priorities? Is it to the workforce or is it to total efficiency?
To total efficiency, because that is to the workforce in the long term.
What about the people who are on the dole as a result of the efficiency?
Well, better works operating regularly with perhaps 3,500 or 4,000 people on it than no works at all. There are less people on the dole then.
That also means that another 500 or so people are to lose their jobs at Consett.
I'm afraid it's very much looks as though this is likely to be. There may well be announcements of further redundancies in the new year.
We've never even thought about having to move away from this area because we've always thought that the works would always be there. We wouldn't have, if it had happened years ago when they were young, we would have had to move away. We would have had no choice then.
So with job cuts certain, the real question is how many? Whatever the final total, Jim and Teresa Roberts won't be driven out of Consett. It's easier for the young to set up new routes, but Jim and Teresa say they'll never leave the town they love.
We don't want to go away from here because this is home, the people. It's homely. Everybody knows everybody else. It's not quite as good now as it used to be years ago when we lived in the street. We were all very close. Every family helped everybody else. It's still the same, but not as familiar as it was before. But it doesn't matter where you go, you always meet friends. There's always somebody that you know. You wouldn't find this anywhere else. Everybody helped everybody else. You didn't need home helps or anything in them days. If anybody was bad, your neighbours came in and seen to you. It still happens that in parts of the place. But it wouldn't matter where you go from here, you would never find people like what they are. Not the friendliness. We don't want to leave it, we want to stay here.
It's often the traditions that give a town a heart. Consett's traditions go hand in hand with steelmaking, which started 100 years ago. Consett was then king among the steelworkers. Here was the biggest steelworks in Britain. With good reason, the town is proud of its music. Where there's steel, there's often brass. The first ever Salvation Army brass band was formed here, and now there are 4 others, including the Consett Steelmen's Band, which has brought many musical honours to the town.
We used to go away on holiday every year for a fortnight. We always took our holidays a fortnight together. But we don't now. A fortnight's too long to be away from home. We like to go split it up now and we take separate weeks. A fortnight was too long to be away from home. Once we lose sight of the slag, people will harder. When we come back from London, once we get into Durham, we can see the smoke. See, there's the muck. That's home.
Strangers might think Consett is ugly. If they stayed for a while, they'd certainly find it lively. Apart from more brass bands than any other town of comparable size, there are 2 choirs, including the well-known Consett Citizens Choir. There are more than 50 societies and community organisations. There's a sports centre, cricket and football clubs, a swimming pool and a golf course. As the town now prepares for the season of goodwill, this Christmas certainly won't be the happiest one. But there's a chance that all is not lost. The general manager of the steelworks has a plan for the future.
I can only say that on its completion, if we can get it completed, then we'll have a really first-class billet producing unit. It should then stand alongside any other billet producing unit, not only in the UK, but in the world, using the hot metal practice.
I mean, Consett, as regards the unions, have given a lot to the management. And the management's asking a lot, and they're still asking. But, you know, it's going to be tragic at the end of the day that, and I believe this, that the management of Consett have got no say in Consett, whether it exists or not. That the hierarchy of the British Steel Corporation will determine whether Consett will close or not.
If the workforce will go along with the management, we shall have a fine plant. We have a good plant now, but it will be the best. We have the necessary equipment, we have the necessary technical knowledge. All we need is that will to drive it forward from all those who are aboard.
So the big hope for the future rests with the billet mill. It's this mill which rolls and shapes the steel ingots and turns them into rods and bars. They end up in a whole range of products, including window frames and as the tough wire for car tires. This mill is efficient and modern, but it has to earn its place in a fiercely competitive market. The steelmen complain that competition is not always fair. They can't understand why we allow other common market countries to dump cheap steel on our doorsteps. Officially, this imported steel is said to be of an inferior quality, but union chiefs aren't satisfied that this is always true. An inquiry has been ordered. It's just one of the many problems bothering Consett.
Irrespective of any deals we make, any sacrifices we make, because at the end of the day, when you're making sacrifices, and the men, the workforce are making sacrifices with a basic thought in their head that we'll save Consett. I've got to be honest about this. I don't believe it will make any difference. I believe that if Consett was the most economic place in the whole British Steel Corporation, that when the hierarchy of British Steel Corporation say Consett closes, it'll close.
With one of the worst years in Consett's long steelmaking history about to end, the town prepares for Christmas and 1979. Will it be a happy new year for Consett?
To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow. glorious world.